Yeah. It just. Yeah. Yeah. But when I was seeing this there, I was like, oh, hello, it's 5:30 and we'll start the work session. So with that. Well,
And call up attendance for the work session.
yes, but you need attendance. So that was my next question. Yes, so if you would do a roll call for us, if that's what you'd like, or you want us just to speak up. All right, you start, trustee Tarno, that you're here.
Trustee Tarno is here. Trustee Hunter.
Mayor Smith.
Trustee Check. Trustee Stelter.
Oh, I'm supposed to, I didn't know I made a quorum.
No,
Well, Stefan Lynn, Town Administrator Treasurer.
Town Clerk Samara Better. Deputy Clerk Ruben Santiago. Public Works Director Nikki Mullins.
You can have everybody.
Right.
And
Recording.
we're all good. Okay. And there was nothing for us to look at ahead of time, so I'm gonna turn it over to Administrator Wynn to walk us through these salient points.
Okay. So, let's go over the first, let me pull it up. It is proposed salary allocations or maximum salary allocations going into 2026 for each individual position. Now, that maximum amount is if somebody were to get, that includes a 2% COLA, which everyone would get 2%, and then up to 3 additional percent for a merit base. We had discussed that previously, and that's kind of where this is. So this is each individual position, including those newly created positions, moving into next year. And then I've also broken them down by fixed allocations, so where that money's actually coming from, whether it be our general fund, which is ad valorem, sales tax, property taxes, or our water, wastewater, sanitation, which are our enterprise or service funds. Oh, I thought I was sharing it. So you can see kind of how many positions we're looking at, what our new position, the numbers equate to head count, not full-time equivalent, but head count. I think I got them all right. I had to change it like 6 times as I was adding new fixed allocations. But the new positions, I did have to make some changes because there were some personnel or staffing changes where a police officer resigned from the police department, but we took him in the public works department. He became a general laborer, filled one of those open positions. We had a public works supervisor who requested a demotion and then also gave up a CDL, which was another pay modifier. That position then rolled into another public works general laborer position that was open. And then we had a public works laborer decide to be an interim. I got a promotion for an interim public works supervisor. So all of that had to be changed within this worksheet. And then this is what will go into my larger worksheet to look at total cost based on what somebody is elected for health insurance. As of last week, we know what people are electing going into the next fiscal year. So if there are any changes, which we only had a handful of changes, they need to be known so I could put them into the budget worksheets and then ultimately the spreadsheet. I haven't finished that part yet. I do have a couple changes that need. The first new position starts on page 8 or number 18, which is page 3. And it's the front desk office assistant. That's a new position for fiscal year 26. That total compensation is the maximum for that position. I plan to the hiring range I plan is between 32 and 40, depending on qualifications for that position. And it is a full-time position. Seasonal park employee A and seasonal park employee B, we cut one of those positions. to help save on some of our general fund costs. That is the maximum. That's based on 640 hours. It's a seasonal employee based on 640 hours at $20 an hour.
You mean you had, you had three, and now you have two?
Yeah, that's one of the big differences is we cut one of those. You won't see a project manager position in here, but you will see a new community services officer. Split 70% in PD, 30% in admin. Unfortunately, that's still all the general fund, but it affects each different department. So, and that position looks to pay the same as police officers. Police officer 1, 2, and 3, those are just rank and file police officers. I had to give them some sort of naming to help with our positional cap so that we remember we have 3 police officers, an SRO, a community services officer, a sergeant, and a chief. With one new position being that community services officer going into fiscal year 26. I think that's it for new positions. Like I said, the Public Works Department, because of some changes that happened, filled all of their positions going into fiscal year 26. If you look at seasonal and part-time, that's 1, 2, 3. So that would mean that there are 25 full-time employees going into 26 or proposed full-time employees going into 26 and 3 part-time or seasonal employees going into 26 as well. One of those positions is what I call the Friday front desk. That person comes in 1 day a week and will help with Friday. It's candy.
She has a place to sit.
There is a little spot there. What we'll have to do is one of the positions, we're gonna have to move upstairs. Most likely the accounting and payroll specialist will move upstairs. And then the 2 people that handle the front desk, will be downstairs.
So that 1 day a week position is gonna continue even though you're having a new front desk system?
Yeah, so there's things that we can have that person do. It's not just monitoring the front desk. I have a backlog of building permits going all the way back to 1970 that we'd like to see do a data conversion and put into our community development module. So each property record has, the building permits that each one has had. That's gonna take. It's
No, I was just laughing at that. So you can have.
extension. So, but those are some of the things that we'll have her do, as well as filing. So once we do our accounts payable at the end of the month, there's a lot of filing that's involved with that as well. But it is a position that, we can cut. It's really up to you.
So could you give us a total number?
28 total, 25 full-time.
I meant,
Oh,
I have a summary of all 48 positions.
Total amount of money, just.
Man, you're gonna have to give me a second.
And if you don't have it right away, that's okay. Be a spreadsheet thing, wouldn't it? That's okay.
I'll pull that up. Give me a second.
And when you give us that number, we have to realize that that is not compared to our general fund budget because of the allocations to water, sewer, and trash.
Correct.
So even though it might sound like it's almost close to the general fund budget, it's not. But
Yeah, so it's, as of right now, there are $1,674,493.02. Pull out water, sewer, and trash. It's like I can do that actually pretty easily. It's $850,477.46.
when you combine water, sewer, trash.
No, that's without water, sewer, trash. That's our general fund.
Okay.
Oh, you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. Oh, yeah, you are. Okay. So that's the spreadsheet I made for trying to track personnel costs. It's just so large that I can't get it into. Yeah, it's got too many columns, but I need those columns. It'll also track once we put in like anniversaries and, you know, when somebody first started. So I can keep track of that as well. If you guys really want to know, you make about 58 cents an hour as trustees. So.
That's meeting time.
Correct.
Well, yeah. It's a lot less. Yeah. As we can. I'm a volunteer. 9 more.
And so this is based on a number of formulas like how FICA is made, you know, decided how unemployment tax is decided, our med tax is decided, and then our 401ks. And then FPP&A has its own under police retirement. And then what I've also put in for like our workers' comp, each workers' comp has their own rate. And so you can see that next, and it varies based on department. So somebody, for example, like Jordan and Derek, you know, who are both water and wastewater operators. Wastewater operators have a higher percentage for workers' comp than a water operator. It's based on kind of the risk, associated with each position.
Stephen, could I ask, just for, you know, what's our objective for tonight? And what are the steps and decisions we need to make between now and adoption?
Yeah, so I wanted to present this to you so you could see a full picture of what salaries would look like. And that's the entire reason for that in this, you know, presented tonight. The real meat and potatoes is our capital improvement plan, which we'll get into next. That one, we've got to make decisions on. And it's particularly because some of the things that we need and that we're trying to prioritize to make our departments run efficiently and smoothly. Those needs outweigh money in the bank and, you know, money down the road. So we've got to start prioritizing how we want to make purchases for the next 5 years.
So tonight we'll be trying to make decisions on those things, or?
We want to present them to you, and then I'm going to go over how each one of them is scored and the criteria. And that would be what I ask for the next workshop, is that you get that scoring done and send it back so we can start prioritizing those capital improvement projects.
But we can't do motions in a workshop.
Okay,
So this is really informational and for questions like yours, you know,
Okay.
informal.
so, like deciding to include a dump truck and not a garbage truck, whatever. That would take a motion.
Yeah, that would have to be during a
Okay.
meeting, during,
Well, the way I would see it is you guys give us your scoring, right? And then at the next workshop, we would present a ranked order, what's going to be bought in 26, what can wait to 27 all the way to 30. And then, you know, that was what we'll call our capital improvement plan, and it'll get rolled into the fiscal year 26 budget. So you're not making a motion on each individual purchase. You're making one motion on adopting the budget and that capital improvement plan that's included with it
in December.
in December. Right.
So you're seeing that as long as we fill in the worksheets, that during the workshop, we prioritize based on our rankings.
Correct.
And some conversation.
That's right.
When there's duplicates or competing.
Ties and things like that. Yeah.
So my question is, that spreadsheet you just showed us, I would like to be able to see that spreadsheet electronically. Is that something you can share with us by email?
It's got a lot of confidential information.
That's what I was wondering.
So I really have tried not to put it in any sort of email. I'm happy to. I can try to print something out.
Well, here's my dilemma. So we have this, and then the next thing you're gonna give us is the insurance. And then I think as a group, you know, we have to say, do we want to go with this maximum salary level, which is potentially everybody gets 2%, and you gave that to us. several meetings ago or workshops ago. But this would be, in the best case scenario, each of these people gets a merit increase of 3%. So people either have a 2% raise and there's no merit increase. Or we say, we could say no merit increase, or we could say no 2%, but go with merit. So I just want that to be clear that what you're presenting to us is all really good, but it's really up to the trustees. Once you see the big picture of deciding, can we afford maximum payout for health insurance premiums and maximum increases to wages, and thinking in the most meritful case that everybody would be at this 5%. If they all got a merit increase, and the merit increase is set at 3%, or can it go 1, 2, 3?
It's not set at 3%. So
Three's the highest
it's
they can
up
get.
to 3%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is a maximum potential salary per individual.
Yeah, and so one of the things that you're gonna start seeing, or in the updated draft of the budget, is we're supposed to be paying on-call time, and we are not. And that's a state statute, so we have to budget both the police department and public works up to $15,000 to pay for on-call. Now, that doesn't mean you're paying your full wage, you're paying, I think it was $250 an hour. Something like
You
that.
said 2, but is it
I
250?
think it's $250, that's what everybody was paying.
And when you say 15,000, you mean per person, per?
No, I'm talking about an additional 15,000 in overtime line, which,
For police and for
When they're-
health each, for public
Correct.
works. Not 15,000 per person that's on call.
correct.
Okay,
I mean, you're talking, what was it? It was $30 a day is what, for somebody who's on call. And so that comes out, the math that we had done was like $250 an hour. And it came out to about 15,000 between,
public works would be 15 and on top of
correct.
the existing things. And I'm just bringing that up because that's the bigger picture we have to look at in terms of salaries and benefits on top of capital improvements. And for me, it's keeping in mind that it's really expensive to hire new people. It's really good to keep people. And this, especially this incoming year, we have so many projects going on that it would be good to be fully, full, with numbers filled. But it's a bit of a weighing that we have to do. And right now, I feel like we don't have the full picture because of the capital improvements. And then you're gonna give us the insurance a little bit more fleshed out because of people's new,
Okay, so capital improvements comes out of a completely separate than general fund, so.
right, no, I understand that. Mostly I'm just talking for me, I have to look at the entire picture and then break it up into general fund, water, sewer, trash. And here's the bottom line for me.
Okay.
Next time we meet, would you please tell us our unencumbered funds? That you use a better term than surplus.
It's a fund balance, yeah.
That we have fund balance, that we have to, some of that we have to maintain for purposes, some of which we already are doing. But for me, this is maybe the year to look at capital improvements, et cetera, based on going into some of that fund balance, because right now we have more than we really should for a small town that has capital needs. So anyway, but I have to tell you, the budget is always a conundrum for me. It's not something I'm used to doing, and it's a lot to consider. So I'm just telling you, I don't have my finger on the pulse completely.
And are
Mhm.
are the merit, decisions on the merit increase, who's making those decisions? And are they,
Department heads.
okay, and then what's our role in that?
Policy.
Saying that we would support up to 3% and then
Or we make a rule that new employees aren't eligible, your new hires
okay.
up to a certain amount of months. And then after you've been here a year, we try to give you whatever merit increase we can. But the top merit increases should be for the top performers.
Okay,
In my opinion, that's just what it is.
and does any part of that policy exist already?
It has to be made every year because the budget changes every year.
Okay, so that's part of our.
I'm not sure we did that last year,
It's
think it's
not
been
been
done.
done before.
because I
Well, we
think
haven't
we,
done any sort of merit-based increase. It's
No.
always been.
have we done it? Sorry. go
Well,
ahead, Matt.
I think it's department specific, so like with PD, we have a tier. So, you know, for example, if we were to hire somebody through the academy. Their pay would be tiered until they completed the post academy. Then they would come on in FTO, their pay would come up to another tier. So for our department, our pay is tiered, it's not like you get hired and immediately go to the highest value. So you have FTO, then we have 6-month probationary period, and we have 12-month clearance, you're out of probationary, and that's when you would be eligible for that. And we still do the employee improvement plans, and the employee goals. But simply because you hit those goals, you may still be in FTO and you hit your goal, you're still not gonna be eligible for that performance.
Will some of that be found in our new employee handbook? Does the new employee handbook include how you all have to do it by law? Isn't that what you have to do by law? Yeah,
Ours is not by law, ours is, this is just set up for our department policy.
okay.
That's how we're structured. The handbooks typically will have something about like a probationary period for all new employees. Set up on what you want that term to look like.
Probationary periods and then yearly evaluations. Is also gone over in the employee handbook, and I'm pretty sure it says in there that that's where merit-based increases can come from. So based off of the evaluation process.
So kind of based off your question, it's a pretty well-established process that I don't think we as trustees have really done much with that. That I remember. I don't think
We've
you,
never had a merit-based pay. Raise. We've always done pay raises. We kind of look at the surplus and divided it up. But it's a good idea in the long term for merit-based,
Mhm.
but we have to come up with a policy.
Well, what I'm wondering is there a policy in our current employee handbook that we can look at?
Let me review it.
Yeah. And then there's a new one being crafted that we will get. I don't know if we'll get it till January, but to see that, and again, I don't know what's in it, but. Assume some of that would be in it for us to review, but. go ahead.
So December 9th meeting, that's when we're supposed to be able to adopt a budget. I mean, we're identifying some steps that need to be taken along the way, and I'm just kind of wondering what that roadmap is and to make sure that we are clear what that map is and we can accomplish it.
Right, no, I think it's a really good point. Of what we have yet to look at, which it seems like there's two pieces we have yet to look at, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan. Is the revised health insurance that employees are proposing to take. So then we have an idea of what our bill would be.
So I guess, do you want it drilled all the way down to individual employee, or do you want to see what it would be in the actual budget worksheet? So what I mean is, do you?
Okay, premiums, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, they're
It went up
definitely. Well, I think what would probably be informative to me, and this is just me, is if I knew how many people were doing just themselves versus family, because we have a graduated amount that we've been giving. People are getting the same amount regardless of whether, isn't that what we've done in the past? Whether it's a single person or a family.
I think we got one of those a couple of years ago.
We did, but I just wonder if, yeah, that we did look at that, and you're saying some of that might have changed.
Yeah, so there were a couple of employees that decided, one of them decided they wanted to go from a PPO 5 to the, which is the better plan, to one that's not as great at a PPO 7. So to make that change.
So do we really just need to come up with numbers? That everybody gets this much amount that the town pays towards their premium? So it's fair?
Well, so.
I don't know. What are we doing now?
Yeah, what we're doing is going into 25, I created these breakdowns.
Mhm.
And then I'm proposing the following breakdown. Left side is town, right side is employee. We're getting rid of what would have been the PPO 6 plan. So at the top, you're looking at let's see,
You gave us this already.
I did, yeah.
I think what would be helpful to me is if we had a repository for everything we've received. Because some of it's in an agenda packet.
Yeah.
Some of it's been at a work session, and I don't really know where to look for everything.
Files in, but it's not here.
Can you guys create something to put files in, like a shared drive or something that is accessible by the email addresses? Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, that would really help, because then I'm not going through 2 different meeting agenda packets and our workshops looking. And some of this, and we get it later by email, so it'd be really great to have it all in place. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, I was looking at our personnel manual and our current one, and it does have in there that, merit-based pay adjustments or bonuses may be awarded by the town in an effort to recognize outstanding employee performance. The decision to award such an adjustment is dependent upon numerous factors, including but not limited to the information documented by this formal performance evaluation process. So we do have it spelled out in this one, so I'm sure that means it's definitely in the new one too. But it may be refined a little bit as we go through it,
So will those decisions by the department heads be made in the next couple weeks or so, so you can craft that into the general fund budget or the budget?
No, so that'll be something that's done throughout the year, so that upcoming fiscal year.
So that's, you're just, thinking about this as, let's look at what the max possible could be. And work off that number, and then if anything, we'll have some left over.
Correct. So what we consider a balanced budget is what our existing fund balance is, plus the revenue coming in, less the expenditures. So as long as that fund balance still remains above 0, including any sort of things that we're supposed to keep, like a Tabor reserve or debt service reserve, as long as those numbers are all there, we consider that a balanced budget. So with that being said, if there were an example, let's say only one of the police officers gets a merit-based increase, and that happens in May, there's going to be a surplus of funds that it doesn't go away. It gets rolled into our fund balance.
So
What was presented was the absolute worst case scenario.
Highest cost.
Yeah.
Right, highest cost, yeah. And I mean, we can reduce some things to try to get us there, but it's I don't think you're gonna see much change in the 2 people that decide, they may even be a wash for health insurance. I think those numbers are gonna remain.
So what we already
We've
have.
already had. But you just need a spot where you can recall it easily, right? You need a repository. I think that's doable.
And this is the fine balancing act between retaining people, because kind of traditionally, we've been the training for police officers in the valley. And they're here for a year or 2 and then they're gone. And every time we have one of those, it takes virtually a year to get somebody up to speed. And the training costs are high and we can't afford that.
Yeah,
And even a laborer, I always figured when I did hiring and firing, that the person you hire for 3 months, they're worth about 3/4 of a person on average over 90 days. And that's a big cost. and you're paying them full time. And
Yeah, and I'm not, I mean, I fully support, supporting the employees. I'm not, yeah, questioning that. I'm kind of trying to understand. And I think it makes sense to budget for the highest cost.
Yeah.
Overall. I'm just trying to sort out, you know, what are the decisions we need to make? What are the policy actions, if any, that we're, you know, gonna be looking at so we can, you know, make sure we have a little time to think those things through.
So, you know, to that point, do you think that a 3% merit, up to a 3% merit increase is okay to budget for, or should it be less? I think that's coupling it with a COLA adjustment as well, knowing that, or maybe not, maybe there's just no merit, but that 2% COLA.
That would depend on the fund balance. wouldn't it? So,
Yeah, and our fund balance is healthy. You guys see that with every monthly month budget to actual every month. I've been keeping track of that.
But we have funds above the fund balance that are unencumbered. And I call it surplus. You have a more financial term for it, because we have several $1 million that are not budgeted.
That's the fund balance.
That's the fund balance.
But that,
Hang
I
on,
don't think the fund balance comes to that amount, does it? Does it?
sure.
yeah, so here's what I've been tracking. You can see the total fund balance is $6.5 million.
But where are you getting that? From all of your spreadsheet you started
That's coming
providing?
from Cassell.
No, I mean, if I added up the fund balance for general fund, water, sewer, trash,
Yeah, that's across all funds.
that's gonna be $6 million.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't look like that when I look at the table, that's all. That's the only reason I'm questioning it. It doesn't look like.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
that
this
big.
is, this is actually cash on hand right now. And so you're looking at it as 6.2 million.
No, I know that. But my point is, of that 6.2 million, some of that is already encumbered. We can't bend it.
It's restricted.
But I think we need to understand, because we are gonna have to go into our balance to get the things need to get done this year with all these projects and things that haven't gotten done. But I don't understand how much that is over and above what we're talking about funding here, salaries, health, capital improvements, and all the other things that are in our budget line.
So I think the best way to find that out is the monthly budget to actuals. I actually have, for general fund, right up here in the top left, it says beginning unrestricted and unassigned fund balance, and that's $752,493. If you go to, I never explained how to read this worksheet, and that's what I mean.
You did kind of.
I don't think so. Then when you go to October, this is what's on every other tab.
What page are you on?
This is,
Agenda packet.
it's the budget to actual.
It's, hang on, I have it.
Yeah.
Actually, it starts maybe on page
So,
20.
so for example, with October there, you can see like, okay, we brought in that much. The top is revenues, bottoms are expenditures. And then the bottom is what's left over between expenditures and revenue brought in, plus the fund balance that's been audited.
Okay. So for instance, right now, the general fund as of this month is 950,000
Correct.
and
And that's gonna go up because we didn't book until today, the sales tax that came in October, that got dropped.
and then for water, which of course has to stand alone, we're at 1.3 million. And for sewer,
No,
we're at not quite 400,000.
right, but then you'll see, just to the right of that, you'll see that there's a restricted and assigned fund balance. And so that's that debt reserve that
Right.
we actually talked about today.
Right. That we have to maintain.
That's sitting aside.
And that is that not included in the 220? Is that 258 always out there? So there really is a fund balance in sanitation of 220,000?
I'm at wastewater.
Okay.
Yeah, so wastewater, you can see that, the way that this number, that number there is made, you can see the formula. So it does an adding, a subtracting, and then adding that existing unencumbered fund balance, or
So,
unassigned fund balance.
okay, so looking at wastewater, I just want to understand the numbers. So we have restricted and fund balance of $720,281, which is the bold in column for May. That has to stay because of our loan repayments.
Correct.
So that money has to stay there. I consider that encumbered, right?
It's a sign,
It's a sign.
yeah.
We can't spend it. So then when you go into your September, the almost $400,000 under total wasteland fund,
Uh-huh,
is that saying?
that's unassigned.
As right now, that's unassigned, which is not the same as right now, we're in a loss for the budget to actuals for October. When you go to I'm thinking we're at a loss for this singular month for water, sewer and trash.
Yep.
Which is because it fluctuates, money coming in, going out.
Mhm.
But this number, you could take to the bank.
Yeah, that's the number you actually want to care about, because what we did for the budget, going into 25 with our resolution was, we not only do the revenue coming in, but we also add that fund balance. And then that revenue coming in, what we put in that resolution, do you remember? We put it out in the paper, that final number is revenue plus unassigned fund balance, less expenditures, and then you're left with a fund balance amount. And so we do that for each one of our funds, not just our major funds, but also our non-major funds, like sales tax capital.
Could I ask that I think that resolution might be good to have in our bundle of information.
So we can
You
do
could
that.
add that resolution into there too. At least it would help me. Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Just maybe bringing it up a level. My sort of experience or experience, I guess, is that, I would look at budgeting for personnel very differently than capital improvement. So personnel are like, they're long-term. We need to have incoming revenue identified from somewhere that goes to them. The fund balance, that is like, that's what I see as the capital improvement fund. That it doesn't make, that I'd be very wary about using the fund balance to meet our personnel costs. Because if we continue to have less revenue than we need to pay for staff, we're working ourselves into a deficit situation. I'm kind of looking at you, Stefan, to see if does that line up with how you're looking at this? Because I hear I hear revenues and fund balances kind of be combined, minus expenses, and that concerns me a little bit. That the fund balance is being, we have, personnel and maybe some other things and administrative costs and services and things like that are ongoing forever. I mean, this and that. So we need to make sure that we're as much as possible paying for them with revenue that we can expect to come in ongoing forever. And not even to our fund balance.
So we've actually got a couple of things. Number one, there is a general fund balance that is meant to pay for years where we may not have enough revenue coming in to cover operational costs, personnel and operational. We have set something completely separate aside for capital improvement planning, so capital outlays, and that's 1% of all sales tax collected. It's also our street fund, our conservation trust fund, which is very assigned, very restricted, and our sidewalk. So and those have their own, and that's what this page shows, their own fund balance. Where we're about $1 million just in sales tax capital improvement fund. I mean, that's a lot to just not be spending or using each year. Previous budgets from 23 on back, I lumped everything together and then tried to really get on the granular level with where each individual expense was going to come out of, and it made for a jumbled mess. So we've made this a lot easier. We went from this really granular level to something that's broken down into really three segments for each department. Personnel, operating, those come out of general fund, ad valorem, and then capital outlay, which is sales tax capital improvement. The only difference for that is within our enterprise funds. Where in enterprise funds, it doesn't matter if it's capital outlay, personnel, or operating, they all come out of that same revenue that comes in, those fees for service. So,
Okay, so I think you said that the general fund balance has been used over time to help, expenses kind of ebb and flow for various reasons. And so that fund balance is used to help smooth that out.
correct.
And but you also just got to keep in mind the trajectory of that fund balance,
Right.
which obviously it's been going up for a while,
Yeah.
but over time it could change.
And so I would really caution against, like what you had said, doing anything to pull out a fund balance just to fund personnel costs. Those are things that revenue coming in should really be making sure that it covers those expenses.
Just how you-
Is how you put it.
Yeah.
Operating expenses, they continue to go up too. And so what we're seeing is over a few years, it's not just personnel expenses that are going up, but also our operating costs that are going up as well. And our revenue isn't tracking the same. So it's just not. Sales tax isn't, it's not covering up the deficit and the increase in cost. I mean, I've received an email, I'm sure you all did as well, that DMEA is looking to do a 7.5% rate increase. And so those things continue to go up, regardless of how much revenue is coming in. So what we've got to look at, and this year I think we're going to be fine, even if we propose to dip into it for operating costs, dip into that fund balance. But if we continue this over 3 years, even 2 years, we really need to start looking at what we can do to raise revenue. Part of that is, the way we raise revenue is increase taxes, for general fund things, or fees for service for enterprise funds, or we find a way to bring new users in. And so that could mean, what does that mean? That means finding some way that's what economic development is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to bring new businesses. It's supposed to build this tax base that you can, while you might not be raising taxes, you've got a new person to tax that's providing for those services. And so, I mean, those are things that we need to start thinking about as well. I know our millage rate hasn't increased in 12, 13 years, something like that.
Which rate?
Our millage rate, so that's our property tax rate. We currently bring in about $160,000 in property tax. That's not a lot. Our bread and butter is sales tax. That's really what keeps us going.
And one of the biggest problems is we have Tabor here, and it's taxpayer bill of rights. We cannot raise any taxes above the rate of inflation plus a population increase. There's a formula. And that's killing everybody, right from the top of the state on down. And the problem is that the ratchet down, whenever we have an economic downturn, it goes down and you have to lower taxes. When the economy gets better, you can only raise taxes by the rate of inflation plus the population increase. We've had a very severe population increase in Colorado recently in the last 30 years. And it's kind of masked this a little bit, but Tabor is a thing that's going to have to be dealt with at the state level. And they're going to have to get the taxpayers to vote on tax increases.
So we can't, can we raise, just hypothetically, our allocation of the property tax, whatever, can we raise it or propose to raise it at the rate of inflation?
The county commissioners have to approve that.
Well, that's for the voters.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have to go to a general election versus a special election. It would have to go before the electorate to be approved. Here's where the state really hits us. So severance tax and mineral leasing, these used to be like $50,000 and $60,000 a year. Pretty significant. What the state has been doing is, in order to balance their budget without affecting Tabor, they've been cutting from severance tax and mineral leasing. they've been cutting from what goes down to the local governments and retaining it for themselves to help balance their state level budget. And that's us seeing the repercussions of that. So and we haven't replaced it. We haven't found a way to replace that other than we've done some sales tax increases. I think Cedar Edge, or is it Olathe? Olathe has a 4% sales tax, local sales tax. And I think they do it 3% to general fund, 1% to like capital improvement. I don't see that sales tax is really the way to go. The way to go is really to start annexing properties that are surrounded by town, that are receiving services for town, that aren't paying into the town's, tax or even sales tax, things that they're buying on Amazon are going to the county, they're not coming to us. The big one is if we can annex or get Stop and Save to agree to annex in for maybe some sewer, overnight, we'll probably see about $60,000 in sales tax like that, and including tobacco tax,
Yeah.
and then,
That's,
do they sell beer?
yeah, I think so.
We don't know.
I'm too snobby
Yeah.
to drink stuff.
But there are ways to, and this will bring people with pitchforks and torches, right? Is when you start talking about annexing those people that like economists call freeloaders, right? That receive all the services, all of the benefits without any of without paying for any of it. By folding them into town, well, number one, they're also gonna have a say in voting, right? But they're also gonna be paying their share for the
But the
services. they're
thing is
receiving.
that their taxes are not gonna go up. We just get a bigger share of the property taxes
Right.
from the county. And that's it. I mean, it's a win for everybody, but they don't see it that way.
I think, I guess, and I don't want to get too far off track, but, yeah, to the extent that we're, using fund balances to cover the increased cost of operations, that's not a sustainable, approach. So, and worst thing to do would be to wait until it hits on, wait until we're, at the cliff's edge to start working on it. And something like annexation, yeah, it's not gonna be easy or fun, but, anyway, it's just, something to look at how to, in the next few years, try to rectify that. What's the plan for doing that?
Yes. Annexation has not been a topic of discussion
Yeah.
since I've been paying attention.
Not since I was on council last.
I know there are areas in town, like I recently talked about, surrounded by 3 signs. In some cases, almost enclaves, that the county really wishes that we would, annex, but we haven't yet.
Surrounded.
There's a couple of them. Yeah,
It's
there's
weird when you start paying attention, like over next to the library or over behind the old Subway Peppers. Yeah.
And right behind the library, there's a very large lot that's open. It could be brought into town tomorrow.
It's,
It's 100% surrounded.
yeah. So, and we actually, so the town actually has Samuel Wade Road all the way up to the highway. Which makes it easier to say, somebody like Stop and Save, to say, hey, if you'd like to connect to our sanitary sewer, which the rumors are that they do, what it would look like for them. County would hate that because
Going
that's a
behind
big
there in
revenue
summertime, you'll see that their septic overflow.
Yeah.
And they want to do that. So I made a phone call to their operations director to start feeling about. Okay.
Yeah, and I know we're running out of time, but I still think, and this is maybe for follow-up, is what are the other steps? Where's the input you want from us? How's that gonna fit on the timeline so we can start scheduling for it? Because we've got a big holiday week in the middle.
We sure do. And so, what you've seen before is that I've said, as the draft that you guys have seen, we are projecting As of right now, we're projecting to take 163,200 out of fund balance. And that's just for personnel and operating costs within the general fund.
Yeah,
Our general fund balance.
10%. 10% hit.
It's about everything.
I know I'm slow to jump in here. We're talking about annexing. Don't they pay higher water and sewer dues than the town proper does?
The vacant lots, the enclaves generally are vacant. They don't have water or sewer.
But I'm, oh,
If it's half.
I'm talking about.
But yes, some of the out of town folks that are surrounded on three sides, they are paying out of town.
Right.
Oh, I can't say that with 100% certainty. Most of them are paying out of town water rates.
Which is higher than the in town.
Right.
So we lose that if they got annexed.
I don't think it's enough. I think it's not that much compared to property taxes.
Quite a bit out in the country.
It's, I mean, it's what's our in-town versus out-of-town base rate on a water?
I think there's maybe a $6 or $7 difference between base rate.
Yeah.
It's Stall Road, right, that I can't be 100% certain because there are people that are getting in-town rates, but they're not annexed in. And I haven't questioned it as hard because I can't find any documentation. There has to be something where when we ran that sewer line, they gave up some sort of an easement to us. I just have to find that paperwork. Instead, I find other things misfiled. But so that's kind of where we're at with that. Knowing if we're okay, the way I want to proceed is if we're okay with looking at an up to a 5%, knowing that not everyone is going to get a 3% merit increase. This is that worst case budget scenario, best case merit scenario, highest cost scenario. Okay, capital planning. This is the one that they've been waiting on. Let me. Okay, so the last time we met, I started filling in things as we were discussing it. So what you'll see is on the printout that was given to you, I will probably send this to you digitally as well, so you can see it a little bit better, pulled up on your digital device. But you can see where we started inputting cost, right? And then proposing how it would be paid for. So to read this, you've got the total estimated project cost there at the top. State and federal grants, if there's state and federal grants that would help pay for it. Debt financing, like we're going to take out a new loan for it, or cash capital, which is that fund balance in capital improvements. And then if it would generate revenue, so that would, let's say that's that new code enforcement officer, which isn't a good idea. It's not a good example, but let's say it's code enforcement officer that's expected to generate $20,000 of additional revenue. You would put that in, in there. It could be a new service offering, like we start charging for yard waste because we've purchased some sort of grinder for it. We'd have that initial cost, and then here's the new charges that could be generated for yard waste. You're not going to see many of those. You're not going to see any of those because what we're proposing isn't meant to generate revenue. It's meant to help us get the job done. So that could be dump trucks, new pickup trucks, things like that. If something has been populated in estimated taxes, that's what happens when there's like that's what happens when there's nothing to help offset that cost. So it would 100% come from like a fund balance or something like that. And then it auto populates additional taxes. How are you going to pay for it? But really what I want you guys to focus on are that far left column where it says PW9, admin 3, or PD with a number. Those are going to directly translate over into the needs assessment. And so what you'll see in that project name is it's auto-populated based on what was on that capital needs page. Does that make sense?
Is that just an arbitrary numbering or are these in priority order?
They are not in priority order. These are just to give them a number to reference back to.
Just on the estimated taxes thing, so the town roof repair,
Mhm.
the 65,000 there is under estimated additional taxes. So what does that exactly mean?
So if I were to do this and fix it, 'cause it's just an error.
Oh,
It goes away. So up at the top, if I didn't have any total of financing or revenue sources, how would you pay for it? Well, we'd have to do some sort of additional tax. If that makes sense. So let's say it was on here were a new municipal complex. We were to say that new municipal complex is gonna cost us $2.5 million. We can use some of our cash capital fund balance of 50 grand. But our how we're gonna come up with the rest is gonna require like a revenue bond. A general obligation bond. And because of that general obligation bond, over the next 30 years, that $2,450,000 would have to be funded through, at that point, an additional tax. And so that would be like a millage rate rider on property taxes to cover that cost. Well, you're not gonna see, you shouldn't see any of that within what we're trying to do.
There are especially toward the end of this thing, there are a number of other things where they got numbers in that last column. So are those all mistakes too?
They are all mistakes. So there are multiple hands in this worksheet. I tried to clean it up as best I could.
That's fine.
Yeah, so, but like, so looks like somebody's gonna fix it. I'm watching because we're also making changes because it's a shared document. But yes, so you're looking at that far left column. We have like 3 minutes till the next meeting. Second big problem. Okay. So you look at that left-hand side, and then you're gonna go to needs assessment. And that's, you'll see that it's that naming system is all the way on that left-hand side. What would be really helpful is,
Needs assessment, something you gave us previously.
it's one of these pages.
Oh,
So needs assessment looks like this,
oh, okay.
and you'll see that all of the naming mechanisms have pre-populated. I did COVID right here. But then what you're gonna do is, or what we would like you to do, is to rate each one, 1 through 10, in each one of these columns.
So that's what column you were looking at?
Oh. Okay, so. Yeah. So these project names correlate to what's under capital needs. It's just it's just a simple naming that you'll have to reference back to that tab for the description of each project. And then on this needs assessment, at the top, there are 8 different criteria, right? The criteria that you guys have to consider. Those are put into columns here. It's, down the way. You're gonna rate them 1 through 10 for each one. Each different one has its own weight associated with it. So if you say the age, it might say there it's a truck from 1994, age is gonna be a 9 or a 10, right?
Wait, okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because those are my scores.
That's
Like,
right.
I'm supposed to start.
No, you can't. Yeah, so they're gonna get a clean one each that they're gonna have to score as well.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is kind of what we've done with like the RFQ process. With the RFQ processes, we'll take that combined number and then we'll be able to start ranking.
And Nikki had already done PW 1.5. So
So,
you're gonna erase that.
so
and we're
I'm
gonna.
not gonna erase hers, but I will give you a clean version
Right.
that shows no numbering, and it'll be digital. So if that works, if you don't have a device, like I know sometimes yours is troublesome. If you still handwrite it, we can put that information in, but it's gonna help us to prioritize these capital improvement projects.
So this page and this page match
Yeah.
this
last 2 pages in terms of numbering.
That's right.
So we should have a PD 14
You should.
at the end of the list, and we do. Okay.
And you guys get your vehicles into needs, right?
Oh, it's 6:30.
Yeah, just one last thing. This is our vehicle replacement schedule that was created. Those are already on the needs assessment. So you can kind of see our existing vehicles and when they want to, when the department heads are recommending that they get replaced, they have put 26 into the needs assessment. So into the capital needs. And so you'll have to look at them when you do the needs assessment and score them.
And you're gonna want us to score all these 8 criterion?
Some of them may have a 0. I mean, it may be, I'm sorry, some of them may have a 1. There is no such thing as 0.
So could you just go back for these vehicle replacement schedule? The ones that are for the 4 plus 4 for 2026 are the ones, the 4 that are on this sheet? Are they numbered?
They will have a number, yes.
So that we have a PD 2025 Ford Explorer,
That's the actual vehicle number.
and that's what we're gonna be scoring, and it's coming from here.
Yeah, so
Is that
like,
right?
Well, and the online document has been up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this, where the X's are for 2026, are found in here.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Right, so we can go back and forth and understand what they are.
yeah,
When do you need this?
by our next budget workshop, so. That way I can start building that capital improvement plan based on your priorities.
So are we gonna have a workshop in front of the November 25th meeting? We don't have another workshop scheduled.
I'm gonna be remote for that, if we can have it maybe the week before. People are gonna be around.
You know, if you have it, that Friday, which is the 21st. And if you were to email it to me, I can include it in the packet for the 25th. That way we don't have to have another workshop. That'll give me some time to be able to,
Get it to you by the 21st? Is that what you mean?
let's get it to me by the 20th. That way I have time, because I have to have the packet out by 4 o'clock on the 21st, but I'll be at a conference. But I work at night when I'm at conferences.
So do we need a workshop before the 6:30 November 25th meeting?
I don't think so. I think I can put this in the town administrator report section and show you how everybody's scores played out and prioritize things.
In that meeting,
In that
so it'll
meeting.
be part of the 6:30 regular meeting.
Yes, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to.
We will have on that agenda?
I have no idea.
No, if we do,
Not so.
we're gonna have a bunch of RFQs or proposals, but
We'll have 2 RFQs.
it'll be a big packet. Just warning everybody, because there's gonna be all those proposals in the packet. For the Safe Streets for All, and we'll talk about that when we get to the agenda for this.
Okay, but you'll be sending us a clean worksheet with get it back to me by date and time.
Correct.
And updated. Great.
Is yours finally syncing?
No,
We've been having,
We just moved tax from there.
So on that note, it is 6:33. Should we begin our regular meeting? I don't know if our IT is ready. Yes, you could say when you are. Escape with you the magic words. Yes.
it's a continuous
Are
meeting.
we good? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So it is now 6:34 and I'd like to open our regular meeting. And let's begin with the pledge, please.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So could we have roll call?
Mayor Smith,
Here.
trustee Check,
Here.
trustee Peck. Here. Trustee Hunter. Here. Trustee Stelter,
Here.
trustee Turner. Here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion to approve the agenda, I have two changes to the agenda I would like to bring to your attention for discussion. The first is with the resignation of trustee Schwartz, Mayor Pro Tem. We have that as the last item on here's the resolution acknowledging her removing herself as a trustee. But something we need to do tonight is vote on our Mayor Pro Tem. We need to have that in place. And so I'd like to add that to the agenda as part of our last entry. And we need to remove and what's the word? Continue. So actions and presentations, item number 1, consideration of RFQ 2025-07 Safe Streets for All Consultant. We need to continue that to the next meeting. Take it off of this and continue it. There was one more proposal that did not get reviewed.
Yeah, that was, what,
That
That
was
was-
finish and then I got something before you.
so that was my mistake. They had turned it in the day before it was due and I missed it. So instead of having 8 qualified proposals, we had 9. So that's 2 that have 2 RFQs that we've seen an incredible response on. And what we've done is for that 9th proposal that came in, the scoring committee is going to score it independently, have it completed, and we'll wrap that into the next agenda on 11/25. We've already notified all of our the people that have turned in proposals so that they're aware of what happened. And it was a mea culpa. I told them I am so sorry, I missed one. But everyone that has replied has been thankful for our fairness and transparency throughout the entire RFP process. So.
Or better, did you have something to add about the agenda?
Mine is just a technicality. When whoever makes the motion, please don't continue it, please table it until the next meeting. There's no such thing as continue, it's table.
Is that true? Tabling doesn't take it off forever?
There, and you have to table it, it's the proper term for it, table.
Continuous is when we're in a hearing, right?
Right. So, but this would be for a time certain. So if you do it, when you table it, it's until the 11/25 meeting.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve the agenda with the following 2 changes. That we add to item H, number 4, appoint Mayor Pro Tem. And that we table item H1 till the next meeting on November 25th.
I'll second that, but I have a point of order. Can we put electing or appointing a mayor pro tem on this meeting when it was not on the agenda sent out?
Everybody looks at Sam.
Yes, I think you can. In this case, you can always add it to the next agenda if you are asked to do it again when you appoint a new member. But since it's important for you guys actually to have a mayor pro tem in case something should happen and Mayor Smith can't be here, I think that's really important to do now. But you guys can always ratify that later, or talk about it again on the next agenda, but I think it's important to do tonight.
I just don't want to get caught with the open meetings rules.
Yeah, it was my suggestion that you guys add it, actually, so.
We have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll move on to announcements, and I'm going to start with the proclamation provided to us by Hope West. And I understand, Wilma, that you are online.
I am, Mayor.
Okay. I just want to recognize you, and then when I'm done reading the proclamation, would you like to introduce yourself and then take any questions afterwards?
Yes, ma'am, I would be glad to. Thank you.
Okay, all right, I'm going to read the proclamation. Thank you very much. Hope West Delta County, State of Colorado proclamation. Whereas for more than 30 years, Hope West has been Delta County's community-owned nonprofit organization where people turn when facing life's most difficult times. And whereas as a nationally recognized hospice, palliative care, dementia support, PACE, adult bereavement, and children's bereavement program, Hope West provides care to more than 3,700 individuals each year. With every year, the need for Hope West services is growing, and whereas Hospice and Palliative Care Month highlights the importance of comfort for those facing aging, serious illness, or grief. Hope West is privileged to provide exceptional care every day, helping patients and their families transform an overwhelming or fearful time into one of comfort, healing, and hope. And whereas this public declaration celebrates our community's unique spirit of helping each other every day and honors the compassion of the many nursing assistants, social workers, chaplains, physicians, counselors, registered nurses, and volunteers at Hope West. And whereas Hospice and Palliative Care Month presents a unique opportunity to increase awareness of these programs and honor all who make them possible. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Paige Smith, by the power vested in me as mayor of the town of Paonia, Colorado, do hereby proclaim November 2025 as Hospice and Palliative Care Month in the town of Paonia, Colorado, and ask that the town trustees encourage the support and participation of friends, neighbors, colleagues, and fellow citizens in hospice activities and programs now and throughout the year. In witness here whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the official seal of the town of Paonia, Colorado, this 10th day of November 2025. Thank you. And Wilma, if you'd like to say a few words and introduce yourself, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I am Wilma Irvin. I am on the board for Hope West. I am a volunteer. I work very closely with our director on a regular basis, and she was not able to come tonight. We had some conflicting meetings, and so she asked that I attend this one and apologize for her not being able to be here this evening. And we also just want to make sure that you all know how much we appreciate your support and how much we appreciate you proclaiming November in Paonia as Hospice and Palliative Care Month. We appreciate it. And I would be glad to answer any questions if anyone had any.
Any questions for Will? Okay, seeing none, we'll say
All right.
thank you. And thank you. And we appreciate getting the proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you,
for all
folks.
do. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We have two more announcements. They are: the town is accepting applications from in-town residents for an available seat on the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission meets on the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m. and is an advisory board to the Board of Trustees, as well as a quasi-judicial body. Applications are due to the town clerk by November 19th, 2025. And we also have we are accepting applications for an open seat on the Zoning Board of Adjustments. The Zoning Board of Adjustments only meets when public hearings are scheduled for it, and it is also a quasi-judicial board. You do not have to be an in-town resident to serve on this board. Applications are also due to the town clerk by November 19th, 2025. And does anyone else have an announcement they'd like to bring up? Okay, seeing none, this is the part of our agenda where anyone in the audience or on Zoom is welcome to introduce themselves by name and whether they live in town or not, and speak for 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, on anything not already on the agenda. We have no one in the room, and I don't see any hands up on the Zoom. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have no persons wanting to make public comment. So we will move on to the consent agenda, which consists of the November 10th, 2025 disbursements and our October 28th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Any comments, questions on disbursements or the meeting minutes?
We didn't have any abnormalities in disbursements. So.
All right. Seeing none, somebody ready to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a second?
I'm sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to staff reports and start with Town Administrator Treasurer Wynn.
Okay, so These numbers have changed, and what I want to show you are a couple of things within our budget to actuals or for our bank accounts. What you're gonna see coming up for the next month are a couple of changes. The first one is that WWTP line item that says debt reserves. That is getting transferred into sewer restricted down into Column Trust. So that WWTP that's currently making 0.15% is gonna be closed and transferred into the one that's making about 4% or higher. The goal within UBB is to have 4 accounts. The first one is a pooled cash account. That's where the majority of our cash will sit, making that 4% interest rate. And then as we need it, operating and payroll will be funded. So the way it has been is pooled cash just kind of sat there. And that was actually where the previous treasurer was supposed to send that money to Column Trust, and instead got a competing interest rate and just kept it at UBB. Okay, that's okay to have, but what we're gonna do is the majority of our cash on hand will sit in that pooled cash account. As we need it for payroll, like we currently do, we will fund that payroll account, where it will always end up having a final balance of like 7,200 and change. But it will be funded as each payroll, happens. Like as of right now, it's got about 58,000 in it, but that's because payroll happens on Friday. And then it goes back to 7,200. The third account that we'll have is operating. That's where our checks come out of. That was typically where money was coming in and going out. So if somebody were to make up a fake check, let's say we wrote a check to a tire shop, and that tire shop took the check, and somebody that was not so honest wrote a check number for 10,000 checks in the future. They had our account number, they had our ABA number, and now they can start writing, it could be a problem. We have just changed to a treasury management system where we have to positive pay all checks. And so I'm not giving people ideas. We now, it got set up today, got the confirmation. We now positive pay each check. So after the 10 checks that we'll issue tomorrow based on disbursements, I have to put those checks, description and amount into the website for UBB in order for them to ever clear. The way it's been going is, by the way, that's the way it's supposed to have been since like the 80s. We're finally getting on with that treasury management platform as of today. And it was all because of a conversation that the mayor and I had about other things. So we started doing, wait, we're not positive paying checks, and it was a big deal. So that's the third account. The fourth account is the Conservation Trust Fund with that 0.1% interest rate. I have to report to the Conservation Trust Fund all interest made specifically on trust fund money. And so it's really hard when it's going into a pooled cash account to say I generated this much interest on this amount. So because that's a state requirement, we're going to keep that account. So UBB in the next month, you're going to see 4 accounts still active. Pooled cash, Conservation Trust Fund, operating, and payroll. So that makes sense. And then the operating account shouldn't have any more than outstanding checks or outstanding monthly ACHs like ADP fees, that's our payroll processor fees. It shouldn't have anything more than that. Everything should be held in that pooled cash. That being said, all of the funds that are currently existing, you're going to start seeing Column Trust get increased. So you're going to see those funds moving into Column Trust. Like the sewer restricted, we have a little over $100,000 that we have to maintain as assigned. And so there's going to be a separate line underneath that says this is how much we have to maintain. So we're going to try to keep a little bit better track of assigned and unassigned fund balances with just this cover sheet. Okay. Okay, this has changed since I've created the document, the grant spreadsheet. I have since put in for all of our DNR grants, so that CWCB grant, I've put in for the balance remaining, as well as, so that 147,973, I've put in for all of that. And then there's that outstanding 12,500, I plan to put in later this week with the Colorado River Water Conservation District. So I plan to finally close out that entire hydrogeological study and see those funds receipted in.
Because we paid the bills for the,
We have,
now the money is coming back to reimburse us.
That's right.
So it's a zero, you know,
correct.
yes.
Okay, there's, what we're not tracking on here is our loan balance, which I probably should put on there is how much we can still draw down on our existing loans through CWRPDA. That's what we call the authority. I did just make a $575,000 request drawdown off that loan, and you're gonna see that come out in disbursements on the 25th. It's our first major payout to our company that's doing the tank relining. That was their first pay application. I don't want to float that kind of cash, and so I put it in last week. We're still waiting on those funds to be receipted in. We were told it'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday, which aligns with our next pay app period.
Which grant was that? Which row is it in? Is it one of
I'm
the
not
top
showing
three?
that one. I need to add
Oh.
it. It's our loan drawdown.
Got you. Thank you.
That roughly 6 million, 9 million and some change. Okay, general fund balance. So this fluctuates as the year goes on, but I'm trying to keep a better track of it. I have noticed that I've made some calculation errors that I'll have to go back and refine just to make sure that what is being portrayed in our beginning fund balances matches identically to our audit from 24 and isn't double counted to give that variance there at the end of these two pages. But as far as unassigned fund balance, I can say that this is pretty close. It's the money coming in and going out where it might not. I'm trying to join the meeting. It just popped up. Sorry, it looked like Sam was joining the meeting. Okay, so but it's hard to money coming in and going out isn't so accurate between the bank and then when it gets booked into Cassell. There's sometimes a lag there. For example, the end of October, we saw all of our sales tax got booked today. It didn't get booked, last week, it got booked today. So that's gonna reflect a little bit differently in our budget to actuals. We are pretty darn close to getting all of our property taxes. We still have some outstanding, which is really kind of strange that we haven't received it yet, but there was nothing for there was nothing in there for like September. We didn't receive a disbursement for September for property taxes, but we recently just got one from the county as well. It hasn't been booked yet. When we built this budget in 25, that 160 was less than what we were expecting to get. So I wouldn't be surprised if in fiscal year 26, the delinquent tax, that 103109, ends up getting funded because people were behind in paying their property taxes this year. Because we're so close to the end of the year, normally that's taken care of. We do have some.
I do have a sort of general comment, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have some liens that are being filed as well for like delinquent utility bills, not paying certain things that were owed to the town. So those liens are being filed this month. I believe they're right. You submit. It should have been submitted for this month so that the county could get them on the books. But you can see kind of how things are moving within revenue. I can answer your question before I move on.
Well, just in general on this particular spreadsheet, I mean, it's in one way, it's kind of interesting because we've got a percent at the end that says how close are we to what we thought where we thought we'd be. But understandably, there's not everything happens every month. There's delays, there's big payments that go out, in the 10th month or irregularly or whatever. So I can't understand where we have a problem versus where we're doing well. Like, we might only be 20% of what we've, thought we were going to be getting for this year but I don't know if that's a problem because maybe, it's gonna be coming in later. So I think it matters because we're gonna be approving what is it, our adopted budget and, what kind of revenues we're expecting. And I think we need to be able to understand, well, how good did we do last year? And I think we talked about this at the other budget workshop, but like what would be helpful on here, and I don't know how possible this is like, where are the red flags? Where did we think we were gonna be here? And we know right now, like, there's nowhere close. And like I say, I think you did talk about some of this in an earlier budget workshop, but I think having some understanding of that, where were we off and why last year is gonna help us better think through what our proposed, particularly revenues are in the upcoming budget.
Yeah, so I think it could be as simple as maybe putting a red tint next to the percent to show that as being like a red flag. Or like, for example, in sales tax county, where we're 109%, maybe color coding that one like a lighter green. Would that fit?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that would be really informative.
Like,
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah, that's something that is like we can easily incorporate. I think you're right, would give us a good idea of where we're gonna be. When I was looking, so on that, the fiscal year 26 budget worksheets that you guys have already seen, you'll see that it was an expected 25. That was based on what our monthly to actual was for, I think it was October. I guess I could update it, but I tried to, I worked hard trying to get those pretty
You
close.
did talk about, we were off this year because of this or whatever. I think you did flag a lot of those things, but yeah, it's just helpful to carry that forward.
Sure, no, that makes sense, but I can put in that right column, kind of a red or green kind of color coding. That's very easy to implement. Conservation Trust Fund is up, but it's because we were so far behind that they finally caught up with us. From a few years ago with accurate reporting. So that's why that looks higher than what we had budgeted for. And that doesn't go into the general fund, that actually goes into a very assigned reason or thing. Let's see. Back the badge is still pretty healthy too. Interest income, even with next year, we budgeted, our proposed budget is less than 145,000. I think it's closer to 125,000 that we're anticipating. And that's if those interest rates continue to fall. I have no idea.
And which section, which line item?
That is 103504. It's on page 25. Even though it looks like we're going to surpass that by the end of the year for interest. I think interest rates are going to, in our savings are going to go down. Other income. Oh, I can't remember what that one was made up of. Pull it up here really quick. It's 103506. This is where I pull all the numbers from. So this is our Cassell ERP program. It doesn't do a report that auto populates into a nice form like I've got, so I have to manually read them and put them in. This, for example, other income came from refund for overpayment to Column Software, and then some other miscellaneous things. One of them was for the memorial wall at the park. We didn't have a separate line item for it, but somebody wanted to add a plaque, and that was the cost of getting a plaque that was put in there. And then you'll see that on June 4th, there was a $100 deposit that was credited in, and then a $100 deposit that was deposited or given back out, debited out. That was for the park. We've since stopped doing that. We're holding the checks in the vault, and if it's the cleaning deposit, rather than book them and cut a new check, we're just shredding the check. So But that's kind of what made up that line. Let's see, sales of assets is way up. It surpassed what we thought we were gonna bring in. And as of right now, we're seeing a net surplus in our general fund for everything booked through the end of October at $197,601.53. That is just for this year. That's not our unassigned fund balance from, the end of 24. And then the second one that you're looking at is sales tax capital improvement fund. If it's in brackets, it's a deficit. It's not. We also have another 193,000 in surplus from there as well.
And that's relative to what you thought our revenues would be at the beginning of the budget?
It is. It's pretty close. There are some different departments that I'm gonna probably have to do another budget adjustment, not a budget amendment, but an adjustment in between those funds, like general fund. I'll have to make some adjustments between departments so that they're not over budget. But other than that, I think we're gonna be okay for the end of the year. As long as we can continue to keep ahead of drawing down on our loan to be able to pay for these water projects that are going on. As long as we keep taking it before we expend it, we're gonna be okay.
When do you think you'll do that budget amendment that you said we're gonna do because of the,
It'll be the same day that we approve the fiscal year 26 budget.
so that meeting in December?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll have a better idea on where these guys are with their spending come December 1st. Admin is right on. If you remember, I had to reduce my budget by 10,000 to help the police department because of oh my gosh, what was it? Motorola Solutions. We hadn't paid them in years and then it was due. So, but we're still overall still. You can see that the cameras have been booked. That's in each one of these different departments. It's under 104174. So the big camera project that we had, this is page 26. The camera project that we had is we've started booking them. We have one more invoice coming in. And then we did ask for 2 other cameras. It's for the back parking lot and then one in Public Works to catch the yard and then also the bulk fill station. That's going to come in just under $5,000 and I plan to say go ahead with that. And then that one will come in as well. So it's within my approval limit. It's under 10,000. Law enforcement again is still doing pretty good. I think we're going to be okay there, even with that 10,000 coming in. There were some things that needed to be spent. And I think you guys are actually spending. You've got yeah. So early December, they're planning to spend down. Matt watches his budget pretty closely. Billing is right on target. It is what it is. There were some things that I had cleaned up. Things got booked here that should never have gotten booked here because there's only one thing that comes out of it. 2 things that come out of here and it's all should be 104320. Professional services, it's our building inspector and our plan review. Streets are looking okay. This is one of the budget amendments that we're going to have to do for 104572. We're going to erase most of that. So we're going to reduce it because that was supposed to be 5th and grand. So we're going to reduce it and then keep in, what we've spent so far for what we've already spent. So that 18,000, that's all design costs that we had to incur additional because we got that federal highway grant for $1.8 million. There was additional design work that was needed. So it gets booked here into like a capital outlay until the project is done. And then it'll become one of our fixed assets. But we will reduce that proposed budget from, 2,827,027 to, 25,000, whatever that final number, that 18,000 number becomes.
Does that include the match we have to do?
We can't hold any match yet until we are in construction. And that'll be next year.
And will you have that identified in the 2026 budget, or is that getting down?
It's already identified. It's so what you'll see is in that 104572 number. The number that I gave to Federal Highway included our 30,000 and change match. And so that entire number will be 104572. And then we'll draw down from each grant and then our own match as we need to. We've been asked to draw down Federal Highways grant first, exhaust all federal funds before we hit state funds. State said they are okay with having a refund back to them. Federal said, don't do that. You want to exhaust our funds first. So that was a learning process for me. I didn't realize Federal Highway was gonna. I always thought you budget higher than what you need, and then it's okay to give money back. The feds don't like that. It's hard for them. Yeah, that's right. Parks, we're on target to be on budget. If you look everywhere, there's an asterisk. We made a budget adjustment previously, and so you can see where those things are coming in and going out. Building improvements. So what you saw on that first page with like our bank accounts, the Conservation Trust Fund is getting wiped out this year. It went to go towards the Building Improvements Fund. That was the bathroom remodel. We also used grant money for that as well, but we are exhausting those funds for everything that we've spent in the park. That's what Conservation Trust Fund is for. And then we'll get that same amount next, we'll get like 6,200 next year. And we'll continue that. It always goes by how well a lottery sales goes, and then we get a break. Right now, they're probably great because there's another like $1 billion ticket. Water. So this is going to change significantly next month, where you're going to see a $575,000 loan fund, 603625, and that's meant to pay app number 1. From our water tank relining folks. So that'll be money coming in and going right back out. Now we will retain, we do have some retainage that we'll keep. We're pulling down that full amount from the loan. We'll keep the retainage until the end of that project. And then there's different criteria where we can release that retainage to the contract. So, and it was all part of our loan package as well. The number we want to look at is down here. That where it looks like we're at a loss of 233. Keep in mind that all of the hydro study grants haven't been booked yet, where we've already outlaid that money and we haven't received that grant funding in yet. That number will balance out and go positive here within the next month. Okay, wastewater. I don't see an issue there with adopted fiscal budget. We're doing okay in wastewater, but we are still looking like we're going to hit a deficit. But I anticipate by the end of this year, that number will be positive. Because we did have, if you remember, we had some serious capital outlays that were unplanned under 10 or 705177, where we had new aerators that got and they're working.
Yeah,
right?
they're great.
So before we had them installed, we were getting notice of violations, that we weren't meeting our effluent limits, that things weren't jiving. I haven't seen one since we've had it. No. So since they've been in operation, we've been pretty good. But I anticipate that this either will balance out or go to 0 before the end of the year. If it doesn't, we'll just have to do a budget amendment to pull from fund balance to cover the debt. But it's not quite a deficit. I know I use the word loss or deficit because what we put in our resolution was our fund balance plus revenue less expenditures. So as long as we don't go below that number we said, we'd be okay, but we still need to do a budget adjustment or amendment so that when the audit comes, we don't have this huge variance between what was actually budgeted and actual. Okay, sanitation isn't good. So this one, even with the increase in rates, what we have been seeing is a lot of people coming in to get single can agreements with us. So that was an unintended consequence of changing kind of our sanitation thing was people realized that there was a single can option. Now, you know, we have to believe that they're not abusing that single can system. But as of right now, there's no way for us to tell. Aside from an address on a can or a sticker on a can. If we had, or when we get standardized cans, it's gonna be really easy to tell if somebody is really truly using that 35-gallon can, or if they're not, you know, if they've got 4 extra bags outside the can, or the lid can't close, that's somebody that really shouldn't have that single can, they should be at the regular rate. But the bad news is, you know, we're almost 33,000 in the red here. And part of that is because we did have like 80, 52, 77, we did have some trash truck repairs that we had to do, as well as, was it under vehicle expense? Yeah, you can see that new transmission was expensive.
Which line item is that?
Was it repairs and maintenance?
Is vehicle expense is still under.
It could have been vehicle expense, which we normally do for like
It's close to.
diesel, DEF fluid, oil changes. But we needed to make that repair.
I just your machinery and equipment, because that went up from
Um,
24 to 11, 2001.
Did it? So one of the other things that happened there was we had an unsafe compactor. So when it was tipping,
Yeah, so those cylinders we replaced and also the trash can.
the dumper. So, and tipping fees have gone up as well. The landfill fees have gone up. I anticipate that at the end of the year, we're gonna be making a budget amendment to this one, for sure.
So the landfill fees that are showed there, were under that. What we thought, but by the end of the year, are we gonna be over 39,000?
Oh, 100%. Based on the bill that I have in my mailbox right now, we're gonna be over that next month. So to go over that, we had anticipated, was it a $5 per ton?
Yeah.
Increase, and it turned out to be $15 per ton that they hit us with in like April or March. And so then we delayed in raising our rates. And because of that, now we're chasing higher expenses.
And we have a landfill that's gonna have to be relocated or built a new one. So anticipate that they will go really high. The plan is that they'll put it in Mesa or Montrose County, and Mesa County's not gonna haul theirs to Montrose County, so it's going to Mesa County. Our costs are gonna go up significantly at that point.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a regional landfill.
Yes.
So what we learned, so Nikki and I have been working on a program to get rid of yard waste from going to the landfill. Starting the first of the year, we're gonna roll this program out. It should eliminate about 55 tons a month during our season of wet yard waste. At least that was some preliminary numbers coming from our trash crew. Instead of taking that to the landfill, we are in the process of working out a deal with Delta Compost to put a roll-off out at the Twin Lakes, where we can, as the town, still collect yard waste, but take it to that roll-off. And they're not gonna charge us for our yard waste. What they're gonna charge us for is coming to pick it up and dump it and replace. They're not gonna charge us per ton because they use that for compost. So we can still continue the service that we're offering to our residents, but it sounds like it should help to reduce this cost that we're currently incurring, because we're looking at every time that we go with yard waste, especially during season, we're making additional trips to the landfill. And when it's raining out, that adds to the weight with that yard waste. It's not only wear and tear, but we're staffing a CDL driver that makes a minimum 52,000 a year to go to the landfill and back. It's what, 2-hour round trip? 2.5 hour round trip. So we're trying to do things that will help to reduce that cost by bringing a yard waste program up and running. That's why it's really important that people understand, to use that compostable paper bags or just put it in a bundle that we could get untied. We did confirm that they don't like string either. So they've asked us, don't line it, don't string it, just open is fine.
That'd be good press release.
Yeah.
People with that.
Coming the first of the year. One of the other things that we're trying to assist them with is they're going for a CDPHE grant for a yard or a food waste program. And we might be considered one of the pilot programs for them at a small subscriptions for people to take their food waste and take it to Twin Lakes and dump it in this receptacle that they can use for composting. I think the number she threw out was $10 a month, the subscription, and you just take your food waste there and dump it. The cans they were looking at have to be bear resistant. They're not going to be bear proof. There's no way, but they have to be somewhat resistant. And so we would rather that be that way than in town, if that makes sense. But we're trying to do things to reduce this overall cost.
I wonder if this is a kind of a topic that like the local motion might be interested in. I mean, it's just, there's so much to it and the cost, I'm just thinking, I know the town has some history of recycling and I'm not gonna broach that subject, but more education in the community about how our costs are going up because we're not necessarily doing all we can individually. Talking about the yard waste, talking about the all the things we want people to do. So
Yes. Yeah, that's great. And maybe as we get closer to the year, Nikki, I might say, hey, Nikki. Yeah, because you've been, I think you've been on there before, right?
what's that?
When you became department head, I think she's done that before.
Are there, you don't really do a mail delivery newsletter or something like that? I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I would think that more people would try to do better if they better understood.
Sure.
How this is going.
I got a mechanical question. How does the truck unload? Is it like a manure spreader or is it just a dump truck?
It's this big ram and the gate goes up and then the ram pushes out.
You could feather it out if you have to, right?
Probably not unless it's very, very level and solid. One of the things about garbage trucks is when you're pulling forward in the dump, if you get a soft spot, you're gonna lay it down. And that hurts. I did that. And it hurts a lot. I happen to have my seatbelt on, but
So it's got bottom chains or something.
it actually has a hydraulic ram. that
It's
pushes
a
it.
push,
Yeah,
hydraulic push.
yeah.
But it goes up.
Yeah,
It goes up and out.
the two cylinders that just pick up the bag hatch are what was leaking.
Yeah.
And we can't hold that up.
And it's like 30 or 3 tons or 5 tons. So
That's a terrible manure spreader.
yeah.
If you're talking about like the farm implement, it is nothing. like that.
No, I got that straight.
Okay. Okay, that is it for the budget to actuals. And it's not all doom and gloom. We're okay.
The airport.
We still receive revenue for our cell tower that has nothing on it at the airport. I anticipate that we're gonna see an invoice or at least something coming from the county soon. I haven't received anything yet. And it's to design and repair the runway that is, sloughing off of the mesa. I haven't seen it yet.
It's irritating.
It's kind of the orphan stepchild.
I know, we're getting stuck with it. They actually put that extension in and did it all wrong when they put it in. And you looked at it, didn't you?
It's a mess.
And you're paying for
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're paying for that.
Okay, no, our next is the
Matt.
police chief's.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. For October, the department participated in trunk or treat at County Town Park. with several other law enforcement agencies. Those agencies included Colonel Parks and Wildlife, US Forest Service, and North Fork UMS. We just want to say thank you to all those agencies. That's an event that one of our officers kind of took on and got started, and it's growing each year, so we're looking forward to growing that more next year and getting some more agencies involved. We also got our aquatic cameras, they were installed and the feed is now active. We're gonna take kind of the next 30 days, 45 days, staff's gonna play around with that, get familiar with that system. If we have any questions with them, they're happy to do some more hands-on training, and they're free to train us really the length of the time we have these cameras. That company's been very good to deal with. Those cameras have been helpful. We've already used them in 2 different criminal episodes, so they're paying dividends now. One was a hit and run out here on Grand, and the other was skateboard.
Can I offer something that, there isn't just a camera at the skate park. And there are cameras all through, all throughout our critical facilities, and please don't damage them. Because I mean, that will catch a criminal charge. There's been some scuttle on social media that somebody's going to destroy one of the cameras. So, it doesn't not just captures everything up until the point you destroy the camera. So we're gonna know who you are, and you will catch a criminal charge. Sorry.
So expense.
Just wondering, how long is the video maintained?
30 days.
So it's longer storage than what we've ever had. And it's been pretty good. I think I showed a demo one of a meeting back of kind of what we're seeing, and yeah, catches everything. So. Yeah,
It's just audio, I mean, video, not audio.
the only audio that's turned on right now is inside at the cashier's desk, in case of interactions with angry folks.
The past 12 months, partners have participating in a drug take-back program for prescription medications. During that time, we required over 10 pounds prescription medication. I know 10 pounds may not seem like a lot, but 10 pounds prescription medication was a lot of prescription medication. And we were able to successfully transfer that back to the Drug Enforcement Agency in the month of October. And credit where credit's due on this. This was kind of Service Tech, Joanne Katzer's project. She advocated for this and she worked on it. When we started, we had a tremendous amount of that medication just being stored that we were kind of holding on to. So she found this program, she got us enrolled with them. And between what we had and reaching out to other folks, people stopping by asking what they can do with medications. We were able to acquire quite a bit, and that was real benefit to the community. So we're very happy with the way that worked out.
So we can just come when Joanne is at her desk, people can drop it off?
Yeah, if you have prescription medications, you can bring it down to police departments and turn it in. Now, maybe a few questions we'll answer or we'll ask, and then we'll collect that and take care of that.
Hey.
And the last thing we had was the Department of Personnel were present at the No Kings Rally on October 18th at the town park. Estimates were approximately 350 people attended. And we had no issues as a result of that event. We did have some issues during that event, but they were not a result of it. So
Been really busy getting.
yes, I will ask people to please keep their cars on the street. We've had 3 houses struck by vehicles in the past month, so please put your phones down and pay attention.
Sounds like the good.
Be careful walking on the sidewalks.
I know.
That's nice. Thank you. Any questions for Chief Laminger on this report? Okay, thank you. And I didn't know, Nikki, did you have anything you wanted to add for Public Works?
I can. I don't have an actual report since I did one at the last meeting, so there wasn't a whole lot going on. But if you just want a verbal, Public Works has been pushing pretty hard at leaf pickup. They're actually gonna do each street several times until it freezes. We've always just kind of waited until the very last minute, but there's so many leaves you can't park. It's crowded, crowding the streets and stuff. So they've developed a system that works pretty well with picking up those leaves. And they're filling in the big potholes before the snow flies, so the snow plows don't snag those and rip them out.
The tank relining seems to be going well. Everyone, yes. And then a few little updates, or I guess. With staffing, Stefan kind of pointed it out earlier, we have Rodney who has stepped up into the supervisor position. And he's crushing it. He's set up several demos for new mowers. And I just kind of want to throw that out there since we're doing budget stuff, we have one mower. So. That goes down, we're screwed. It is a riding lawn mower, so at least there's that. But he has set up some free demos and these guys are coming from Junction, you know, bringing implements. It's pretty cool, so he's crushing it, so that's kind of all that's happened in the
Well,
last week and a half.
Yeah, while also taking care of my little pet projects. But you'll get to enjoy that at the executive session, one of them.
So that's it.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'd like to move for a 5-minute recess.
Would like second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's the executive session?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We are back in session.
Not-
And I just want to introduce our water attorney, Sheila Stack, who is going to be with us in the executive session. If I can have a motion to go into executive session.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402 part 4B and section 24-6-402 part 4E. For the purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, as well as providing direction to negotiators and pursuant to section 24-6-402 part 4A CRS for the purposes of discussing the potential transfer and acquisition of the water distribution system of the Hidden Valley HOA water.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to leave here and go into executive session.
You can go into the executive session now.
He's so excited about his. Mark the time. Okay.
We're not here, I think.
We'll leave the contact.
It's just like.
Right here. You.
I complained about it a lot of stuff.
It's. Yeah. We got old.
Thank you. The time is now, what is it, 8:44 PM, and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were trustees Hunter, Stelter, Peck, Check, and Tarno, and Administrator Treasurer Wynn, Clerk Vetter, and our water attorney Sheila Stack. And myself. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Are there any concerns? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the next agenda item. Thank you, everyone. And our next item is consideration of the off-street bridge grant 2025 application, and that's on page 139, if everybody's trying to get back into their heads.
Okay. So in addition to all of the wonderful infrastructure projects we've got going on, we have another one that needs to be addressed. It's our bridge on Samuel Lake Road. The most recent inspection found that we can no longer overlay. So to fix the potholes that are currently in the bridge, we can't do that. We're gonna have to mill down to the deck and do a complete reconstruction of the road surface. In that same inspection, they also noticed some issues with some of the support piers that also need to be addressed, including was it longitudinal cracks that need to be repaired?
Cracks are down to the aggregate and so reduction.
Yeah, so there's some support things that need to happen as well. We can't afford to lose this bridge. It is our only non-weight restricted bridge coming into town, so businesses like Dependable Lumber require that bridge to get deliveries. So we've put together this grant package that has already been submitted to the granting agency, but we need your approval to do it. What we were thinking that the total project cost will be is about $1,963,520. That is, and we're requesting just under 1.5 million in funding. The good news is that when we took this bridge over, we also received a payment from the county that we've held in that bridge reserve fund that you see in Collin Trust. So we have, I think it was 600 over 600,000 in that fund. We are saying that our match, if we get this grant, is going to be 25% or 500,000. So we'll still keep something in our bridge reserve fund. That's something we've got to continuously build up each year based on highway user tax funds to make sure that we're keeping funding for future repairs. This is a major repair that needs to happen. And like I said, this grant application has already been submitted. It just needs your approval.
Question, so we're only required a 20% match. We have the money to do a 25% match. Why do you think we should offer that much?
When they score the grant applications, if you can overmatch, they give you more points. So we're trying to maximize the amount of points for our project so that we get, and that's a really good question, because we contemplated this, we went back and forth. And we said, no, here's what we can afford, why don't we throw that in as an overmatch to help our grant application, so there's a better chance of us getting funded.
Other questions about the grant? If there's anybody online that would have a question, if that's correct, is anybody in the audience have a question? Okay, no hands? All right, no hands raised, okay. Um, Somebody want to make a motion? Any more discussion?
I move to authorize the town administrator to submit the 2025 off-system bridge grant application to the Colorado Special Highway Committee for the Samuel Wade Bridge Repair and Resurfacing Project, including a town match commitment of $500,000 and authorization to execute all necessary documents to complete the grant submission.
That's a really good motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you. And our last action item is a consideration of resolution 26-2025 declaring a vacancy on the Board of Trustees. And Clerk Better, can I have you go through that resolution? And one of the things I'd like to say before she starts on that is because Trustee Shorts, Mayor Pro Tem Shorts was on the Finance Committee, she was authorized to sign checks. So she will have to be removed as a signer with United Business Bank. So if you'll go ahead.
I was also gonna point out, that's also one of the reasons why it's important for you guys to do a mayor pro tem, because our mayor pro tem is also an authorized signer. Right now, I've been filling in for trustee. Kathy. I've been filling in for her with Paige with doing disbursements and. But that's, and I wanna be able to have that resolution hopefully. On our next meeting, so that we're back up to the amount of authorized signers on bank account meeting. Pretty standard, we have, I put out there until we have till the last meeting of our year, because we traditionally cancel the second meeting in December for the holidays. So the 29 days gives us until the first meeting of December. If we don't get any interest right away in filling the position. Beyond that, if we have to, we can put it out further. We actually have 60 days, 60 or 90 days. It's late and it's in the resolution, statutorily to fill a position before we have to go to special election. I'm hoping we had a really good turnout and interest last time. We had an open seat, so we're hoping to see maybe some of those people again and maybe some other ones now that they've realized that Trustee Carno is still alive and kicking and doesn't seem to be any of the worse for wear for serving on the board. So we just need to declare this today and then go ahead and choose a mayor pro tem tonight. I already put it on to the next agenda that you'll either consider or ratify your decision from tonight for mayor pro tem as well.
We do have something that is needed by the bank, though.
And that's,
There has to be that that Kathy is removed as a signer. That has to be said, so,
and I did say it.
okay,
I
yes,
said it. But does it need to be part of a motion?
I think so. They said they have to have it in the minutes.
Okay.
And that was really specific for them to change some things.
So that could be a second motion.
Yes, please.
And then, so I don't forget, at the next meeting, because we have a new trustee and we lost a trustee, I'd like us to think about our existing committees as well as the ad hoc STR committee, which Kathy was heading up. So at our next agenda, I'd like to explain what our committees are and then talk about who's on what committees and shuffle things as needed, because I'm going to need a partner on the finance committee for sure. So we can do that at the next meeting and we'll include what the duties are of each committee. We'll include that in the agenda packet for the ones we have those for. In the finance committee, we have one too, and including the, do we have information to add for the STR ad hoc committee? Did we have anything in writing for that? No. Okay, but that'll be on the list of someone if they're interested in being on that. We do have trustee Selter is on that now right now, but we wanted to have a second trustee. So anyway, that will be coming up, but I just wanted to put that bug in everybody's ear. So now we can go back to the resolution.
So that's I basically just need this done and like, Stefan said, we also do need to make sure that included in that motion somewhere is that she'll be removed as a authorized signer. So we can get that taken care of and get in motion for the next meeting.
Madam Mayor, I would like to send appreciations to Kathy Schwartz. And also move to pass resolution number 26-2025. Declaring a vacancy on the Board of Trustees. I'll do the second part as a separate motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make another motion to remove Kathy Schwartz as a signer on the United Business Bank account for the town of Peoria.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with that,
One more item.
oh, sorry.
No.
We don't, we have to sign the disposition.
Oh, yeah.
Who's in mayor pro tem?
Oh, gosh, yeah, we can choose a mayor pro tem, I'm ready to go. We're hoping I forget.
You can't run away till you get that.
Yeah. Okay, so. Mayor pro tem, trustee Better, could you describe the duties of the mayor pro tem, please?
So mayor pro tem, if the mayor is not here, you would chair the meeting. Yes, we have scripts and you're lucky you have a parliamentarian. So you can do that. If any signature, if anything needs to be signed while the mayor is out of town, you would be the signer. You're an authorized signatory on the town's checking accounts as well. So if there's ever, we've had emergencies before where we've had to get a manual check out to an employee because of a glitch in the system or whatever, you know, that'd be when we'd call you frantically going, we need you to sign. Because we'd have 2 signatures on every check.
It's usually a time card error, they messed up the.
And so basically standing for it, if you chair a meeting though, you don't lose your right to vote. So if mayor is a non-voting member, except for in a tie, the mayor pro tem still gets to vote, even if you're chairing the meeting, and there is no tiebreaker vote. So those are the major duties there.
And also on the finance committee.
No,
That's a-
you don't have to be on the finance committee, it just happened to work out that way this time. Our former mayor pro tem, when he resigned, Kathy was already on the finance committee and then she was chosen as the mayor pro tem. So,
And you were, you still count as a quorum too, as mayor pro tem?
yeah.
Well, discussion. And the trustees choose. It's a vote of the trustees, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I see 2 people eyeballing each other.
Let me just say, to chair the meeting really, well, it's really not hard. It is not like.
And I can tell you in all of Paige's time on the board, there's maybe a handful of times that I've seen her miss meetings. She's not a constant out of here kind of person. If she ever has to attend by Zoom though, and you're here in person, the mayor pro tem, you would chair the meeting since you were here physically.
Right, I can't do it. And I generally, we don't leave town a lot, so I haven't missed a meeting. I want to tell you, since we moved to Paonia and I started coming to meetings in 2020, I think I've missed 3. Even as a citizen.
Please knock on one, please.
I should not. This, because I'm saying, anyway, so we really, my husband and I don't go a lot of places. So I do make most meetings, so, but to run the meeting is not hard. And you're gonna get coached by Clerk Better and Administrator Wynn. It's not, you know, it used to be there were lots and lots of people in the audience that wanted to speak. We just don't have that. And
Last year's committee.
yeah, I mean, and that's not to say it won't happen, but you know, the meetings just are really quite straightforward. Because we have good information.
I would say just remember the way it is now, and we all make mistakes all the time and we tend to laugh them off. We can fix just about anything. So it's not as big and scary as it seems.
You had your hand up there, trustee Stiltner.
I will put my name forth for consideration.
Yes.
This is not. Sure.
Sweet, I moved to appoint trustee Stelter as mayor pro tem. Do we have a second?
Meetings to make sure I don't get appointed.
Well, was there any interest in the finance committee?
We can do that.
I'm just curious. Because I'm happy to meet with you if you are interested in the finance committee to kind of go over what happens.
I was just a point of clarification. I thought it was. That's why I was asking about it. If that's what you're thinking.
Because we really need somebody on the finance committee.
I'd be willing to take on finance if somebody else takes short-term rentals.
All right, this is worth a discussion later.
I take on finance committee if somebody else takes that short term.
Yes. Finance committee compared to what it was 3 years ago or 3 years ago is so much easier. I mean, I'm pretty busy, and the few times that I've had to fill in for while Kathy was gone, or I filled in while Paige has been gone, and it doesn't suck up my day. It actually moves very smoothly, and it's a really good way. You want to understand the town's finances better, it's a really good way to learn.
Yeah, it really is a good way to see what is going on through the invoices and asking questions and just being there. So while you do that, so because I forgot last mayor and trustee reports, we don't have a ad hoc short-term rental committee report. I do not have any reports as well, and any trustee reports. Okay, we're gonna adjourn the meeting as soon as we get, there's a card here for Kathy, and get everybody to sign the disbursements. Then I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody. You can walk around it.
Too bad for the TV section.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gave my phone away.
This is what you guys want for here. And it did for us. I've got a use for it. We'll use it as a concert.
Good idea. Save some money.
And we're gonna move that camera. To TV.
I'm going.
You just have one
Actually,
page.
yep, just that right there, and then part for Kathy.
I already signed that.
Oh, good, then I'll move them all back down.
Now you have somebody's proof. Sign this one.
Usable pens.
This is just Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here. Then I think we'll have every signature on the. You sign that, we'll get Rich to sign when he's done with work. And
please remember, town hall's not open tomorrow if any of you guys have questions. Wait till Wednesday.
Or call me.
Don't call him, talk to him on Wednesday. Please.
I will be in the woods if I can, so, or in the zone.
Any word of it.
all right, I am going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.